here.
Hello, everyone. It is Wellness Wednesday. I am Lori Hoy.
And I'm Dr. Fawn Schaefer.
How are y'all doing tonight? We are happy to be here sharing something that's present in maybe both of our lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully you will gather some great information tonight. Part of our mission is to just deliver some great content, something that you might need or you know of somebody that might need to hear at some point in time.
And I hope there's a lot of my Whole30 group tuning into this at some point, because I think it's a very big, important part of our program, of any program.
Yes.
But, so this is something that will really help you guys too. You need to.
I need to scooch over. But I had to wear my Penn State mom. I just have to give a shout out. I had to wear my Penn State mom T-shirt because for those of you that have been following this week, it's a pretty emotional week for me. My son, Zach, is graduating from Penn State University.
Awesome.
On Saturday.
Today was his last class.
Today was the last. He sent me a text. My last final, I'm done. So it's been a fast 4 years, but a long 4 years in certain ways, tuition, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so I just want to give him a shout out and to all those moms out there that they're, just having babies. You don't blink, and that song is so true. Don't blink; it just goes so quickly. So anyway, let's get on to our topic for tonight. I mentioned stress eating, but we're going to talk a little bit more about all kinds of emotional eating today. And I think there's going to be a lot of people out there that's going to be able to resonate with this topic, and hopefully we can give you some tips and tricks, not really tricks, but things that you can do to maybe combat those emotional eating.
Yeah. So of course, first of all, you ask yourself, what is emotional eating? And I think that a lot of us get confused with, we think of emotional eating as having a bad breakup. And you sit on your couch with your pint of ice cream and your bag of chips and you just cry and eat. That is one form of it, but it's not always as drastic as that. A lot of us, and until we actually point it out to you, a lot of us don't even realize that we're doing it. But are you eating to make yourself feel better from some emotion, any emotion? If that's the case, then that is true emotional eating. So let's just first, I want to start out by pointing out the difference. There's physical hunger and there's emotional hunger. Physical hunger is, it comes on gradually. It comes from your stomach because your body is saying, look, I need some food. I need some calories. It's been a while since I ate. That kind of hunger is if you're truly, truly hungry, and I've told my groups this, you will eat anything. You will eat fish and vegetables. If you put a plate of fish and vegetables in front of you and you don't want to eat it, you're not physically hungry. So that's the thing. You'll learn to know the difference. And so if you're physically hungry, that's okay. You should eat. But emotional hunger is a whole different ballgame. So emotional hunger is, it's a sudden onset, usually in results of some kind of emotion, anger.
I'll share my story this week.
Anger, fear, loneliness, guilt, shame, tired, boredom, some kind of an emotion that makes you crave some specific food. Is it sweet, salty, fried, something usually not that great for us?
Right.
We really usually don't run to celery when we're stressing, right?
I can't even imagine going into my refrigerator when I'm stressing and grabbing a stalk of celery and just chowing down, because I dip it in 42 teaspoons of nut butter.
Yeah, butter. Yeah, exactly. If that's the end of it, then
here's, I'll just chew on this. No, and I'll be dipping instead of measuring.
And that's when my Whole30 group will know this term. The foods become food with no breaks. You just keep eating.
No break.
The next thing you know, the chips are gone, the ice cream's gone, and you're thinking, what the heck just happened? And you're not even satisfied. You might be full or uncomfortably full, but you could technically eat more if there was, more in the bag. That kind of eating it comes from your brain. That is your brain craving something specific because it knows you aren't feeling the greatest. Your brain wants to be happy all the time. Just like drug addicts, these kinds of foods go right to those receptors in your brain that make you feel better. So when you eat the junk, it temporarily, for a microsecond, makes you feel good. So that emotion, whatever it is you're trying to cover up, goes away for a second. But then what happens? It's a cycle. So now you've just eaten the crap.
Yes.
You felt better for a second, and then what happens? Then how do you feel? You feel guilty, remorseful, shameful, and that makes you feel worse.
And
so
you go get more
eat
celery.
More. Yeah, you eat more celery with almond butter.
I do need to be serious because this is a serious topic, but
we've all been there. We know that.
Absolutely.
But that's the cycle it gets into.
Okay, so I was there this week. So basically, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there was a moment that I was in my home, and let's just say something very important came up, and I was expecting B, and I got A. Okay, and it was not, the B was not, or the A was not good. So I tore out of the house. I went into the pantry. I'm like, what can I take with me to eat? I wasn't hungry. We had already eaten dinner. I don't normally do that anyway. And so I had some RX bars, which is a better alternative than, say, a Snickers or a Kit Kat or a bag of Doritos or a tub of ice cream. But for the sake of what we're trying to do, it is not, and it's a no-break food for me. Mm-hmm. I could probably eat 4 of them in a row if I got the right flavor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people know, on my Whole30s, you know that the RX bars are, most of them are compliant. Mm-hmm. Similar, like, think of it like a Laura bar, too.
Yeah.
Like I tell you, use them sparingly.
Yeah.
So
I use them when I travel, so if I know that I'm going to be somewhere where I can't get to something good for me that I will travel with those types of snacks because I know it's at least better than stopping at the Minute Mart and grabbing something that, like the pizza in the turnstile or the, God forbid, those hot dogs. They just look terrible. I'm sorry if you're a Minute Mart, but we just don't like them. We don't eat them. So yeah, I did it out of pure emotion. I was angry and I wanted something to take the anger away. Instead of dealing with that emotion, I stuffed it with an RX bar.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't even that good. And I was mad at that. I didn't grab the chocolate sea salt one, which is my favorite one.
Oh.
I grabbed the chocolate chip one, which is not my favorite one.
But she ate it anyway.
And I ate it anyway because I was angry. And then I was irritated with myself because I still was angry. And I ate this thing that, it wasn't a celery stick. That's all I'm saying.
and that brings up another point that I've brought up a lot. Even if you're choosing the healthy version, like, what were you talking about, those tortilla chips that are...
Oh, Siete.
I don't know what they are, but they're grainless tortilla chips.
Yeah.
Not that my Whole30ers should go find them right now.
No, and I don't even know if they're... I had to order them online. I ordered them through Thrive Market.
Okay. But if you're making a compliant version of chips or ice cream or just to, be the healthy version of it, you still have to think about why you're eating it. Are you eating it to... get that craving that you think you're going to actually eat chips, but you're eating these compliant things.
Right.
Don't do that. Like, you're just tricking your brain, and it thinks it's tricking you into getting what it really wants. So you have to ask yourself, why are you eating?
It's kind of like Jackson's Honest Chips.
I don't even know what they are. See, she knows a lot. Maybe I shouldn't let her talk to my Whole30s right now. There's some.
Well, they're made with coconut oil. They're all the ingredients are good. Seriously, are. There's nothing there that I would go. I would even waver on. It's made with coconut oil. They are heirloom. They have heirloom purple.
They're actual
They're potatoes. They're heirloom purple. They have heirloom red, which I'd never had before, and I tried them the last time. And then they have sweet potato chips.
They tasted like cardboard.
Yeah, they tasted horrible. Don't ever buy them again. But one good thing about them, they're not in a very big bag.
Okay, see?
Small little bag. So anyway, but so if you are someone like, Fawn has been coaching a lot of people through the Whole30 program, and there's a lot of psychological, I don't like to use that word, but it's a psychological, you feel it's a psychological need for you to eat certain foods, and so you try to morph them into something that's a healthier version. And you really shouldn't be doing that. You should be exploring why you feel that you need that food.
So if you want to know why, if you're an emotional eater, ask yourself some of these questions. Do you eat when you're stressed? Do you eat when you're not even hungry or when you're already full? Do you eat to make yourself feel better, like we talked about, from any other emotion that, on the planet? Do you eat do you eat at every meal too much, like just stuff yourself at every meal? Do you eat to reward yourself? Or do you feel powerless or out of control over food? If you answered yes to any of those, then you know that you have a potential for emotional eating. So that's the first thing, is to figure out that you do it. And then...
right, and acknowledging that you do it is hard. It's hard to do that. I mean, no one wants to... It's kind of a negative... we put such negative feelings towards it anyway. So it's hard for people to admit that I can say it. I definitely am an emotional eater on certain occasions. And a lot of people do eat also, and I don't know if we've mentioned this or not, it's like fun. It's fun to eat. Yeah. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Or everything that we do is, oh, hey, let's get together and have dinner. Well, why don't we just, hey, let's get together and go for a walk? Like, we don't do that. It's different, sitting down and doing those things. So, oh my God, okay. So recreational foods, hold on a second, I'm going to read this. Recreational foods always get me into trouble, so now I am trying to avoid them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I'm right there with her. And we were just talking. I said, we all know I stick to my plan, but that doesn't mean I don't eat foods when I shouldn't be eating them. And I think we both have a considerable amount of stress in our lives right now. And so we recognize that when we talk to each other, that's the nice thing, is that we have each other to say, listen, I know I'm doing this, I'm going to fix it. But we're normal people too. We aren't perfect. So please don't think we're standing up here telling you this is how you should do it because we do everything right.
No, and she is, and I will say I bow to the Whole30 God here or goddess, I should say, because I've tried the concepts of Whole30, but I've never really committed to the Whole30 per se from start to finish. And I think it's something I do need to investigate too. Yeah. I just have been trying not to even buy them, not here. I just said earlier, I found, here I'll share this too. I found a better version of chocolate chips. So not Toll House, right? They're stevia sweetened. It's dark chocolate. And I think it's like, 72% dark and above is supposed to be healthier for you than cacao. So they are that, but they're sweetened with stevia. And so, if I was going to make something, for my son, which he doesn't eat like I do, and I still make things like that every once in a while, not near as much as I used to. Or if I'm, taking something somewhere, I might use that version of the chocolate chip versus something that's made with canola oil and all this other crap that's going to be more harmful to people than these dark chocolate chips. Can't have them in my house, people, because I know they're in there, and I'm like, ooh, those chocolate chips are in there, and they're healthier for me. No,
remember, our brain will not forget that we hid them in the back of the closet.
They are not healthier for me because it affects my emotional health.
Absolutely.
So physically healthier, maybe, but yeah. So it's not an emotional health and then that starts that whole cycle all over again.
So what can you do if you recognize that you're an emotional eater? First of all, the very first thing you have to do is figure out the emotion that you're feeling. And some people think that that's easy, right? You're like, okay, I'm stressed. Well, you obviously know when you're stressed or when you're angry or when you're... But sometimes you just honestly don't know. It can take a little bit of soul searching to figure it out. So
personal development is key.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can be a process of figuring it out. But then, also look for those other emotional triggers, like boredom. Are you really bored? Like, why are you bored? Are you trying to...
Is it bored?
Yeah.
Because I don't ever think I'm bored.
Yeah, I don't think that word's not in my book. I would like to know what it's like to feel bored.
I'm not saying that there aren't moments where I just want to sit and like, I call it numb. You just need that time to just not think about anything and you numb. And one of the things what I used to do to numb is play Candy Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Like just not think about the world, and then an hour later I'm like, oh my gosh, I just played a game for an hour because I shut off my brain and not thought about things. And I don't think that that's horrible to do other than taking that much time. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. Go for a walk instead.
Yeah. So if you're bored, ask yourself why. Like, what are you trying to fill in your life that you're bored at that moment? Mm-hmm. The other thing that can happen is we have a lot of childhood triggers. Like, how many of us, our parents rewarded us with food, or if we were sad, they got us ice cream, or, it just
had a boo-boo on your knee.
Yeah.
Let me get you a popsicle.
Yeah. And it's so
make you a pie
like that
cake
too.
Or what,
Yeah.
And
so that can be, it can be an emotional trigger. Like,
oh, honey, do you want some celery sticks?
Yeah. That would totally make me feel better.
Hi, Lisa. I love my parents. Don't get me wrong, and I loved my family growing up. I came from an Italian family, so it's food. We're all about food in the Italian, and we're always worried we don't have enough food for everybody, and we always had a gazillion things. So that has been something that's been really difficult for me and to change in my life. And now when I cook, I cook just, I don't know how it happened, but I just cook enough.
See?
Somehow it just evolved into that. Now, I might have leftovers of those things, but it's not like for 3 days. You know what I mean? I used to be, well, think about a pan of lasagna. That does last for a while because it's a lot, unless you're having a lot of people over. But I believe your mom had a snack. Oh, yeah, she still has it, Carol. She still has the snack cupboard. And what's funny about that is, and she's my cousin, that's why she knows, I still go over to that cupboard. It's like, it's such a habit. Like, I walk right over to that kitchen and open it. And she's moved the snacks to a different cupboard. It's a freestanding one now. But I still walk over there. It's like, I'm home. And I'm like, oh. And now it's not, there's no snacks in there except my dad and his peanuts, which, again, peanuts for me are another no-break food. So, again, my dad and I like peanuts. That's kind of our thing. So, yeah. So, my mother does have a snack cupboard, and it's still there, and it's still filled for stuff for my son.
See?
Every once in a while, there'll be some nuts in there that I'm a little excited about. There'll be some pecans and stuff, but she's doing well. So, yeah.
And I had the same kind of experience when I was younger. I remember my parents worked a lot, and my mom was a banker, and she always worked late on Friday nights, and but it was the chances were that my dad was finally home because he traveled to work, and my mom was coming home, and she would always bring home either pizza or McDonald's or something quick because she had worked all day. But to me, that kind of food, it was my family food because my family was finally home for the weekend, and it was time. So I mean, we all have that stuff.
Yeah.
And so don't get me wrong.
And they're good memories. I mean, it's not like it's a horrible thing, but we know better now, and we just want to try and make it different.
Right, absolutely.
We still have those moments with our family, but let's put some celery and carrots.
Put some celery. Go for a walk.
Some hummus, or go for a walk with the family, or something like that. Yeah.
And then the other thing that, like Lori already mentioned, another trigger can be just social situations. Like we all know, there's no such thing as like a big, huge social gathering without.
I love that cover.
There's no huge social gathering that doesn't revolve around food, and it's not celery.
No,
it's everybody makes their favorite something bad and something good but bad, and so and in those situations you feel pressured to eat just because everybody else is eating, so that can be a thing. But the really, really big one that I think a lot of us do, I know I do, is we stress eat. Stress, it's actually a trick your body's playing on you, because when you stress, you secrete this hormone called cortisol. And cortisol is actually one of those hormones that makes your brain want the sweet, salty, fried, whatever, because it knows that you don't feel good and it wants to feel better. So it just, when you stress, you want to shove your face with something that's not celery.
And we do need some amounts of cortisol in our body, but it's when it gets to the levels that you want to eat things that you shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, we need stress. We need some stressors in our life. Exercise is a stressor. Flight or fight. We have to have. If we're in a situation where we're in danger, we have to have cortisol to know, hey, I got to get out of here. Right. Or we're going to be eaten. Well, we aren't going to be eaten by a tiger unless we are in the jungle. But that's where it all comes. Bread is my stress food. Yeah, you know what, Lisa? Lisa, I'm sorry. You know what I used to do with bread? This is so bad. This is so bad. Carol, you may have done this too. We'd always have Italian bread in the house. I'd peel the crust off, and I'd roll it up in a ball, and it would be like that. I'd eat a ball of bread. And I do love bread. I mean, that is a food that I will. That's kind of like a treat for me now, even more so than like ice cream and brownies and all that other stuff that I used to eat all the time. Bread, if I haven't had a piece of bread in a long time and it's fresh baked, and I'll have a slice of it, and then I'll be like, oh man, I should not have.
I do. When I go to like the bakery at like Wise's and I can smell the fresh breads and stuff, I'm like, oh.
I cannot walk through the bakery, the bread aisle at Wise's anymore. I cannot go in there. The smell sickens me. Like a couple weeks, it was about a month ago, because Brian still eats bread. I try to find, and I try and I read, and I'm like, oh, I can't even buy it. I just tell him you have to go buy it. I can't do it. I just can't buy that bread. But I went through that aisle it's been a while since I've purchased bread for him. I literally got sick to my stomach smelling that. It was just weird. And then flip that, we were, the other day we were at a local print shop, and right next door to that local print shop is KFC. And we came outside and he goes, "Oh, that smells good." And I'm like, "Oh, no, it doesn't." And I'm like, "Roll up the windows, you're going to..." I mean, it's just those types of smells now that I used to think smelled good. They just don't smell good to me anymore. They just actually physically made me sick. It was weird.
So you can change your habits. You can change things.
But yeah, so bread with homemade jam and butter. Yeah, butter bread. Just butter bread.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
I eat sometimes eat butter.
So what do you do? What are you supposed to do when now you've recognized the emotion, you recognize what's happening? What do you do? Dip it in sauce.
Dip it in sauce, yep. Homemade pizza, homemade spaghetti sauce. We dip it in there, yep. Mm-hmm.
You need to find alternatives for those emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're bored, maybe you want to read a good book. Maybe you want to take on a new hobby of something that makes you happy. Recognize it first and then figure out how to actually address it rather than shoving a pint of ice cream down your throat.
Right.
Are you anxious? It could be, this is my favorite. I don't know how many but watch Grey's Anatomy, but
yes.
When they're having a bad day, they dance it out. So
dance it out.
If you're anxious,
yeah, but they dance it out with tequila.
Yeah. Well, that too. Yes, that's true.
But yeah, dance it out.
Put on your favorite song, dance,
Mm-hmm.
take a walk. My favorite is a Beachbody program called Core de Force, which is
we like it.
kickboxing.
Yeah.
Basically, that is such a great stress
Yeah, so
reliever.
if you don't know what Core de Force is, it's coming to Lock Haven, so just don't you worry.
See.
And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it on my stories because I've been doing it every other day. I love it. And you could just, you're not in a ring or anything hitting anyone, but you can picture
you can put
the thing that stressed you out.
someone in front of you,
right?
and you
can just
go
pretend. And
I love it.
yeah, I do too.
And if you're depressed or lonely, call a friend. Call the friend that makes you laugh, or take your dog for a walk, play with your dog. Do whatever you have to do to switch that emotion. If you're angry, address the anger with somebody, make a resolution.
You have to.
I know, forgiveness. We did one of those, didn't we?
We did do some forgiveness and things
so,
like that.
and if you're, one thing that we didn't really talk about a lot is
Can't drink for 13 She's counting down. 13 days.
We're supposed to forget how many days we're on right now.
Can I just say, last Saturday we get friends of ours. We have birthdays. We always go out to dinner for birthdays, and not that that's horrible, but that's just what we do. And I thought, you know what? I want to try a glass of wine. I haven't had a glass of wine. I took 2 sips, and I was like, eh. And I used to drink quite a bit of wine in my day, I will say. But it didn't taste good. It didn't make me feel good. And why did I want that? Why did I want that wine? Because we were celebrating. It had nothing to do with nutrition or fueling my body for what it needed. It really didn't.
Exactly. And that is called food freedom. When you can actually take a couple sips and say, okay, I've had my fill, I'm done. So,
and I said, I was like, I don't even think I can drink that. I mean, it literally just made me feel... It made me feel in 2 sips like you do like the day after.
Oh, okay.
Like
that's
that
not
quickly.
Food freedom. Food freedom is when you eat and you're okay with it.
But it was like
your taste changed.
Yeah, it did. It was just like, oh no, I don't think I need that anymore. So that was nice. That was nice.
So the one thing I forgot to mention, I don't think I've talked to you about yet, is a lot of times we eat because we're tired. Like we get that afternoon slump, and like you feel like you need to eat the Snickers bar to give you the little boost. And hey, I know a lot of people can't, but if you're tired, take a freaking nap. Your body's trying to tell you something. Or at least take a relaxing bath after work. Do something to give your body the rest, because maybe you're just wearing yourself thin and you need the rest. So listen to your body. It'll tell you what it wants to.
Meditation's another option.
Meditation is a good way
You might fall asleep.
Yeah. Or you can do it for 5 minutes and get refreshed from it. So those are things. Address the emotion and figure out how to actually deal with it instead of suppressing it with whatever you're shoving in your face, right? So in the Whole 30, I talk about something, well, just as a recap, I talk about HALT, H-A-L-T. I ask them, if you're going to stick something in your mouth, ask yourself, am I truly hungry, which is that physical hunger of I would eat fish and vegetables if it was in front of me, or am I angry, lonely, or tired? I associate angry with stressed too. So angry or stressed, lonely, tired, or some other emotion. Ask yourself that. If it's because of that, this is what I tell them to do. I tell them to wait 5 minutes, because most cravings will pass in 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes, if you say, okay, I really want that Snickers bar, but I'm going to eat it in 5 minutes, I want you to do 2 things. One, I want you to evaluate what you're doing, right? What you're feeling at that moment. And you might not know exactly. Like
Right.
that's where that soul searching comes in. You figure out what you're feeling. And even if 5 minutes later you eat the Snickers bar, you've at least made progress to figure out why you just ate that. And maybe next time you'll have a better...
Maybe next time it'll be 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you won't have it at all.
And then
And that's what we hope for, yeah.
For those 5 minutes, make a little list of 5-minute things to do. Organizing a junk drawer. Reading a chapter of your favorite book that you're working on. Or emailing or calling a friend. Or taking a walk around the building or something. Do something for 5 minutes to distract yourself. And sometimes you'd be surprised. Drink a big glass of water. Sometimes you'd be surprised how quickly those cravings will pass, and then you'll be like, oh, I didn't even need it. And whatever feeling you were feeling right then, you got through it, and it's all...
So let's recap that again. So if you are feeling an emotion and you go to eat something, you should ask yourself first, H, which is...
Am I really hungry?
Am I really hungry?
Like would I eat
am I
fish
really
and
hungry?
vegetables?
If a plate of the most disgusting food that I don't like was in front of me, I'd still eat it. Are you really hungry? And that is also part of, if you're switching up your nutrition, you really have to figure out and change that feeling of, am I really hungry?
Right.
And realize when your body is really, truly hungry. Because we don't know that. The food that we eat is engineered, is a good word, I guess, to make you hungry all the time, make you feel hungry all the time. Or the food that you eat doesn't fill you up because it's engineered for you to keep continuing to eat and eat and eat. So how many of you out there could open up a big old family-sized bag of nacho Doritos and get to the bottom and go, I'm still hungry.
Yep.
Can't do that with a big steak. I'm telling you, eat that half a steak and you'll be like, oh man, I'm done. You know, or an avocado
salad.
or a big salad. So am I hungry? And then if you say no, what are you? Are you angry? Are you lonely? Are you tired? Are you stressed? Whatever emotion it is, that helps you figure it out. And then wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then if you're still feeling that way,
eat the thing, and then, learn the next time.
Right.
Figure it out the next time. It's a process.
Right.
Nobody's perfect at first.
Right.
You're not going to go tomorrow and say, okay, I'm never going to stress eat again or emotionally eat again. But you'll recognize it. That's
Let me ask you
trying
this,
to
too. I had a friend send me a message today. She's in the group that we're in as well. And she was really upset with herself because she's going through that time of the month and where hormones are all kind of out of whack anyway. Sorry, fellas that are listening, but this is just a fact of life, right? And she was angry because she ate some chocolate. And I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you
don't
punish yourself if you do it. Don't, because what ends up happening is then you go and do it more.
Yeah, then you do that cycle.
And then that cycle starts all over again, and before you know it, you're not feeling well, you're unhealthy, you're whatever. You fill in the blank. So if you wait those 5 minutes and you still have it, don't feel guilty about it. Enjoy that moment, and then you know that the next day you're just going to try to be more aware and more intentional about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's what that 5 minutes does. It helps you understand to be more intentional about what you're putting in your mouth.
Absolutely.
And why.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
So, I mean, how does that whole hormone thing...
Well,
I mean, it's
just a matter of, are we feeding ourselves the right foods? Because we all women in that stage of life.
Right.
It does. Our hormones go a little nutso for a couple days a month. But at the same time, if you have been nutritionally feeding yourself the right things along the way, your hormones will actually calm down. Mm-hmm. They won't rage as badly as they do, because I see it in my Whole30 groups all the time. As the month goes on, people it changes their mood, it changes their outlook, and it changes they don't have cravings. And so if you're eating right along the way, which is the kind of stuff that Lori and I teach on a regular basis, you can get that to calm down. But it's still going to happen once in a while. It's not the end of the world. You just accept it and you move on. You just don't punish yourself. You say, okay, I did that. Now next time I'm going to have a different plan and I'm going to do something different. Or, what did I learn from this?
Right. And then she reached out to me. That was another thing. So she reached out to me. We talked about it a little bit. And I remember the first thing that she said back was, you know what? You're right. Because I said, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. And it really, truly is. I mean, we do punish ourselves for so many things out that we do. And we just got to stop beating ourselves up and stop playing that story in our head that we're not worthy of the things that we want. Okay.
Absolutely.
And that's when we're talking about finding out why you're hungry, or why you think you're hungry, or why you're eating that thing. That's a lot of soul. She called it soul searching. I call it personal development, finding out really truly who you are and what motivates you to do anything in your life. Eat, not get enough sleep, all those things. So it really is about finding out more about who you are, and it's not a bad thing to do. It's actually very enlightening.
Yeah. If anything, you learn to listen to your body.
Yeah.
You learn to understand yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
So, how long does it take to truly cleanse your system? Well, it depends on what kind of cleanse you're doing. So that's kind of a complicated question. But as we all know, My Whole30 is 30 days, and it's a reset. It's what we're doing. We're resetting. So most things I see are anywhere from 21 to 30 days as far as that's concerned.
But it doesn't stop there. It's not like, okay, I'm done with 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good. I'm going to have all this other stuff that I used to have. That's not what that means. I mean, and a part of Whole30 too is for some people, it's finding out that they're actually getting rid of some things that are going on in their bodies by the end of those 30 days, because they're switching up what they're eating. They're eating better. They're eating cleaner. And so they're finding more positive things going on in their body than before they did it. And they don't want to stop.
Absolutely.
They don't want to go back to eating all the things from the drive-through and the pizzas, which I do miss pizza. I have versions.
I miss some stuff too.
We do miss it. And it's not that we can't have it. That's another thing. It's not the can't, it's we're choosing not to.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the biggest things that I come across with people who don't understand why I've changed the way I eat and what I do. Well, you can't have that. No, I don't have an allergic reaction to pizza, other than the fact that I want to put it all in my mouth.
Yeah, I'm gonna shove my face with it.
It's just I'm choosing not to because I don't like the way it makes me feel 10 minutes later, a day later, a week later. Because it does affect, I know it now affects me systemically. The foods that I eat.
And I tell everybody that too, as I choose not to. A lot of people think, oh, your Crohn's will come back. Or no, I really don't think that will happen. I just think, I know that those foods become food with no breaks. And I choose not to put the first bite in, so I don't have to fight the fact that I
That's why we say Whole30, whole life. 30 is a good start, but you can go backwards in a hot minute. Yes, ma'am. And immediately feel horrible. Yes, but we have to work on the immediately feeling horrible thing too, because you shouldn't punish yourself. If you do, in the Whole30, it's 30 days, and if you make a slip, you start over. That's just the way the program works. Because
she means feel horrible physically.
Oh, physically. Well, yeah, that's true. Physically horrible. But if you're meaning like emotionally horrible, don't beat yourself up, because you do. You have that next day to get up and you get to do that. You get to. Yeah. And if you don't change the way you're thinking about food and eating foods, the foods that you eat, I didn't say that right, but then you might not get the next day to do that. And that's what we're about here.
Yeah. Making each day a little bit better and making your quality of life a little bit better.
So you get to choose to do that when you get up the next day, because you get up the next day. Yeah. So
right. Well, we'll stop talking your ear off now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we've given you, and I think we have. I hope we gave you some good content tonight, some things that you can try, some questions you can start asking yourselves. And, another thing that I know that she is super good at is journaling it, is talking about when you feel those emotions, just start journaling it. Just start writing it down. Okay, today I got up, my alarm didn't go off when it needed to, and I already set you in a mood. Okay, write that down, and then track how your day goes and what you start throwing in your face when you're rushed. And say, okay, now tomorrow I'm going to make sure my alarm's set. So if you're tracking those feelings, and they might be positive feelings too, so taking that time to do that really is beneficial, so that you can look back over your day and go, yeah, I can't let that bother me again like it did, because it did. It ruined my whole day. And it doesn't need to ruin your whole day too.
Absolutely.
It really doesn't need to ruin your whole day. Maybe that hour. But anyway, guys, as I always say, if you want to help us, if you want to support what we do by coming on here and just sharing our love of nutrition and fitness and just actually wholehearted living, I like to say. My sister's the one that gave me that term. And if the best way that you can do to support us is to share this video. Share it on your timeline. If you want to tag somebody, please go ahead and do so, but tell them why you're tagging them. Tell them, hey, you need to listen to this because, and then tell them why you wanted to share this with them, okay? We would really appreciate it. We just, there's got to be somebody out there. You might not need this message today. Like, I'm not sure Nicole might need this message because she's doing really well with Whole30. But if you might not need it today, but when you share it, there's going to be somebody out there that will need this message, and then they can reach out to us.
Absolutely.
And we would love to
We're
help
here.
them. Or,
So,
yeah.
We're always
All right.
here to
Absolutely.
help anybody.
And you know what? For the first time, I already know what I think I want to talk about next Wednesday.
Oh, wow. Whoa. We never have a plan.
We never have a plan. I was like, well, I did Monday, which is pretty good for us. Usually it's Tuesday
2 days
afternoon.
before.
What do you want to do? Okay. And as always, guys, if you have a topic that we haven't covered, or if you'd like us to revisit a topic that we've already talked about, please private message us or even drop it in the comments of the video, and we will revisit it. You can look on, I think I've shared everyone with you. So on your personal page, do you think, in your videos or not?
I don't know where they are. But I'm going to try to figure out how to put this one on my personal page.
All right, so I'm going to share the plan that I have, okay? So what I you know what I mean about YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So one of the plans that I have is we're going to be starting to compile all of our live videos that we've done. Now, a lot of them are on this page, the My Full Fit Life page. If you go to videos, you can scroll through them, and there's going to be some of just me doing some silly workouts and stuff, but there are videos of Fawn and I doing this together and sharing all this. And it's been, I have to go back and look and see, it's been at least a year. I know it has.
I don't know if it's been close.
It's close to a year.
I think maybe June-ish.
Maybe June?
Yeah.
So it's coming.
Yeah.
We have to have a celebration and have some celery.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like a dog with a bone. It's sad. Anyway, I'm going to be compiling all those videos. There are some of the videos on my personal page as well. So I'm going to be taking all of those, and I have this awesome guy who has been willing to transform them and put them on a YouTube channel for us. So you can go to my YouTube channel and find all the videos that Dr. Fawn and I have done so far and hopefully continue to do in the future.
That's exciting, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Kind of like a podcast, but not. I don't want to do all that equipment.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I think so. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, please share this video and tune in next week.
Absolutely.
All
Have
right.
a good night.
We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.